Welcome to the Music Life Social Podcast. I'm your co-host Ryan, aka Big Heem, in the building.
Rob Villa, aka Mr. Papa, representing the MLS and the Double S.
General America representing music life, social styles, of course.
Word. So tonight, man, we have a very, very special guest in the building. We have a visual artist whose work reflects his lifelong connection to the city of Los Angeles. His work consists of murals, installations, and mixed media work. His inspiration comes from the movement, the culture, and the architect of the city. Please welcome Daniel Hernandez in the building. Give it up, y'all. Give it up.
Yeah, thank you. How you guys doing?
Man, we're good. We're good, man. Thanks for joining us and
Yes,
everything.
Thanks for
Yeah,
having me. I appreciate it.
no problem, man. Yeah, one of my first questions is that, in your opinion, what is LA culture to you? What does it mean to you, and how is it reflected in your artwork?
Just LA, just representing and showing what I think the city, a lot of landscapes, a lot of what the city reflects. I guess I a lot of landscapes, a lot of things. Like like this. The shoes. You know what I mean? Palm trees and the helicopter. You know what I mean? Stuff like that that kind of represent LA. Do a lot of stuff on street signs, road signs, and stuff like that, traffic signs. But yeah, just LA culture is, I'm originally from Mexico, and I was brought to LA when I was 7. So I've been here all my life. I'm 53 already, so I've been here since then. Never left LA. So I consider myself, Angelino, I guess. But yeah, man.
Cool.
But yeah, and then just things I see around the city. As a youngster, I moved around, from all over LA. From Chatsworth all the way to Upland. You know what I'm saying? From Hollywood all the way to Avalon and shit. So I've seen a lot throughout the city. And a lot of it is a lot of it is just I see a lot of palm trees. All over the city. I see just yeah, just one of the things I do is I make these ceramic palm trees, and one of the street art projects I do is I make the mold, and they're made out of cement, and I put them up around the city, just random spots. This one's on a wood panel, so I usually just put them up, and people come and take them, and whatever happens to them, I don't know. But yeah, it's something that to me represents LA. It's the palm trees, and it's something that I try to incorporate into my art as much as I can.
Because being, you talk about LA culture, just a person just from the outside looking in. Would you safe to say describe it as like one big melting pot of different cultures, as far as whether it be like you got, like you say, you're originally from Mexico, like, but you may see some people from Guatemala, El
Yeah,
Salvador,
yeah. I
Zimbabwe.
mean, growing
You
up,
know, melting pot
yeah,
of
growing up,
a lot of.
I was bussed to school, so we made many stops along the route. You know what I'm saying? We picked up people in, like you're saying, in Pico Union area. We picked up people in Silver Lake. We picked up people in the Hollywood area, East Hollywood, and all that. So it was all different. It was Filipinos, it was Salvadorians, it was people from Guatemala, Mexicans, people from where were they? Bangladesh. You know what I mean? So it is a big melting pot, and now it's more. You see a lot more little sections that are named. More. You know what I mean? There's more sections that have names, and like Little Ethiopia and stuff like that. That it shows that it's a big melting pot.
Cool.
And so with your art and everything, I know you influenced by LA, but what initially or originally got you interested or motivated or in doing art? And I guess you're doing painting or you're doing different things. So what
Yeah,
got you?
originally I got into it. I used to see graffiti art, being bused to school. I used to sit in the bus looking at the freeway walls. You know what I mean? Growing up, going to school, I used to see graffiti. That's how I got introduced to it. From further down In my high school years, I kind of got a little bit more into it and started going to yards and meeting people. In my late teens, I was fortunate to meet a good friend that he used to he runs a crew, and he introduced me to a lot of graffiti artists. I wasn't out there, doing, crazy bombing and going out and shit like that. I was already kind of past that. You know what I'm saying? I was already in my late teens, almost 20. You know what I mean? I was already working and shit. So what I started doing is I started just catching little tags and doing stuff like that, making stickers, and eventually it evolved to making collages. Because I used to work at Kinko's. Back then it was called Kinko's. Now it's FedEx
Yeah,
or something like that.
yeah.
Shout
So
out to
I used to,
Kinko's. I used to
yeah,
work there.
yeah. So I used to collect stuff and make collages and then put them up around the city. So that
Okay.
that evolved to what I'm doing now, I guess. I consider myself a street artist with a graffiti influence. You know what I'm saying? And the things that I do is I make my own stencils because, like I said, I'm not a crazy artist, or I can't really draw freehand. So I cut my own stencils. What
Okay.
I do is I use window screen, so it makes them flexible and reusable.
Mm.
This is what they look like, kind of. But and then when I spray them, it also gives like a little texture, kind of like a silk screen effect. But yeah, that's.
So Dan, how difficult is that, and how long did it take you to learn that stencil
Yeah.
technique?
Yeah, I want to know about.
It took me a bit. Actually, another artist by the name of Teacher, he goes by Teacher One. He's the one that showed me that technique, because before I was cutting stencils out of something called oil-based board, which is a thick cardboard, and it was like it's a big difference. So this technique, it didn't take me a lot to learn how to cut the stencils. The hard part is applying the stencil. It's what's hard, and what takes time to learn, and what some people kind of think it's simple. I've made stencils for people that have asked me, "Hey, make me a stencil," and I use the same method, but they sit there and they don't know how to apply it, and they clog it. So it's and next thing you know, it's just like a big drip. But yeah, man.
Okay.
What was
But yeah.
like when as far as with with your paintings, like your first, I guess, talk about it when you're in adulthood. What was one of your first paintings, your first illustrations and whatnot, and what drew you, what gave you inspiration to do it? Like, far as with the very first one, it's like, okay, this is my baby right here, and I'm proud, because it's like your first one. It's like, I'm proud of
Right,
this. I'm
right,
like,
right. Yeah, back in the day, we used to go to the thrift store and get canvases that were already framed, and we would just add to them. That was one of the first ones that I made, and it's in my mom's house, and it's all just like bitmap, uh, you know, flame, and that was the first one that I did, and what got me inspired. To answer that part of the question, what got me inspired is I used to see all my graffiti friends just sit there and sketch on their books, and and just draw, and and then go out and put it up on a wall, and that I said, well, I can't do that. So I started doing canvases, and that's what it inspired me, just watching them. You know what I mean?
Okay. Now I see that you do a lot of Pokemon stuff or whatever. I see that on your feed or whatnot. So what inspired that? Because I see a lot of dope stuff on your Instagram, especially the
The
Pokemon.
Pokemon thing. There's an art curator that started showing my art, and she has her own gallery in Pasadena called the Honey Drop Gallery, and she's
awesome.
been doing Pokemon theme art show for the past few years, and she always gets a good turnout. I took part in that this year, so that's I started producing those pieces for that particular show. Now the show's on the road, and it's gonna go. We're having another opening on the 20. 1st of March at a gallery in the Beverly Center called the Black Book, and that should be real, real nice. So the pieces that that are still available are gonna be showing there.
Nice, nice, nice.
When you first started the art out there, and you had a same niche, or you doing different type of style of art? Because I know you was thinking around the city, so different styles of art that you actually create when you're doing the creating.
You're kind of breaking up, but I guess you're asking about the styles, the different styles in different places I paint. But yeah, I I started painting a lot of electrical boxes a few years back around the city. A few years into it, I started collaborating with another friend of mine by the name of Ian, and he does a lot of abstract stuff like this. These little patterns and stuff like that. We started collaborating, and he'd do the backgrounds, and then I would lay my stencil work, and so that and then that by making that street presence, we started meeting other artists, and then they invited us to collaborate in murals and in other productions that they were part of. So just by making a street presence, we've been fortunate to be able to paint legal walls and places where the art's gonna stay up for a while. And if it does get damaged or whatever, we have the opportunity to go back and fix it so that it can remain in that particular wall.
Okay, cool. Now I used to live out in LA, so I'm familiar with like the LA Arts District,
Right, right.
Boyle Heights and Leimert Park and Culver City Arts District and things of that nature, man. What's some of your favorite places that you like to go to and really paint and tag and do your murals, things like that?
I've been fortunate to put a few walls in the Echo Park area, and
Okay.
just for fun, I like to go to the river and just off of Mission, off of the 10 and Mission, just right there by the LA River, just hit a few walls, and that to me that's where I go to just release stress and and have fun. But aside from that, I can walk out here to Sunset Boulevard and just paint electrical box, and just release some stress, you know what I mean? But to have fun and go chill for a few hours, go down to the river.
Okay.
Nice,
So,
nice.
being that with Music Life Social, as far as with what music puts you in the mood to like, as far as with do do your artwork or whatnot.
Oh
Like
man.
what do you listen to too as well?
I mean, it's what, man. The music, it just changes throughout the hour or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I might start with some Celia Cruz and end up with the Roots. You know what I mean? So the mood changes as I'm doing my thing. In the music brings out different things. So you know it like I said, it'll change. It might be Aerosmith, and then next thing you know, it's James Brown. So it just go with the flow, man, and
So you one of those artists that you can be in any type of mood to paint. So it doesn't take one mood. Like you have to be happy, you have to be sad, you have to be angry. Like whatever mood you in, you go in and get on the canvas and do your thing.
yeah, because that to me that's therapy. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm in a good mood, I'm gonna celebrate being in a good mood. If I'm in a bad mood, I'm gonna release that through my art and clear my head that way. You know what I mean? So no matter what, on a daily basis, I have to do something that's art related to to kind of feel a sense of accomplishment. You know what I'm saying? If it's going up and putting up a We Paste poster, if it's making a poster for the next day, you know what I mean? So every day I try to do something that's art related, no matter
Honing
what
your
it is.
craft.
What's that?
Honing your craft. Like I'm
Yeah,
constantly.
yeah, yeah. And people trip out. It's like, oh, weren't you painting yesterday? You know
It's
what I
different.
mean? So
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, man. So, man, how important is it to represent your Latin heritage, especially living out in LA? You know what I'm saying? Because it is one large melting pot and a lot of, you know,
You know
Latin.
what? I think I do it without even knowing. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
I just because it's all urban shit. You know what I mean? I just do it. I think I do it without even knowing. There's I just finished Fernando Valenzuela's stencil that
Oh, okay.
I did a few days ago.
Nice.
We're doing a art show at a lawyer's office. They have a little gallery space at a lawyer's office out in Woodland Hills. So I'm gonna try and show that piece there, and but yeah, it's and then I have something lined up for the Mexican Independence Day. So I'm starting to work on ideas for that. Like you say, just representing the heritage. And my slogan or my thing is raised in LA. There's an art show out here. Every year it comes around, and it's called Made in LA. And
Hmm.
I see all the advertisement, and I couldn't relate to it. So, it's like I should just come up with something. And I came up with Raised in LA, and I flipped the N kind of to represent the LA school system. But yeah, man, in that, that I try to incorporate that race in LA into a lot of my stuff. And by doing that, I think it also brings in people who are immigrants, you know what I'm saying, who are not just from Mexico, but from Japan. They were raised in LA, you know what I'm saying. I do
Right.
stuff in Koreatown, and Korean people come up, oh, they relate to it, you know what I'm saying. So that to me is just represents just the whole city, you know what I mean. It kind of covers everybody, who's not originally from here and can relate to that race in LA thing.
Yeah.
Right.
So, so with your Raised in LA thing, do you have a signature piece, a signature, tag that people know you by, or
Not people know me by Dan One, but a lot of I've the race in LA. I started I want to say about over like 10 years ago, and it's just it's just something that I've been pushing, and it's kind of like my own little thing. And I started collaborating with Ian, my friend Ian, on it too. And he came in a few years after I started doing it, because I was out there painting by myself, and it gets kind of sketchy sometimes, you know what I mean. So I needed a partner. After COVID, it just started getting
Yeah.
sketchier, you know what I'm saying. So I
yeah,
needed a partner, and he fortunately he's down, to go out there with me, and and watch my back, and I watch his, and we he tells me, hey, I have a spot, and I do the same, and we go hit it.
Okay. Okay. That's
All
what's
right.
up, man.
Being that because I consider you part, person. I consider you part of the hip hop culture because you said you was inspired by graffiti, and that's one of the elements. What I'm not even going to ask you what your, and that you're an artist. I'm not going to ask you what your top five MCs are, but what are the top five MCs or even groups that you would love to paint or do a mural of?
Oh man, just like some old shit like hieroglyphics,
Okay.
stuff like that. Like I was saying, the roots, dilated,
Dilated Peoples.
gangstar, yeah, gangstar, all that, you know what I mean.
Okay. All
Just
right.
yeah.
Okay. All right.
So,
All right.
so hieroglyphics,
Yeah,
I like
man.
that,
And
man.
of course, I've always been a big Cypress Hill fan, so I've always gotta,
Look,
gotta shout out the homies.
check this out.
oh,
We was in El Salvador. We was asking people about who are who y'all listen. It's Cypress Hill, dude. He realized like yo, he's like Cypress Hill. They was
Cypress Hill. Yeah. They
they was
was
Right,
like
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
so that's
Man,
what's up.
when Kobe Bryant when he died, we seen a lot of murals and things of him around the city and everything. Man, how we came out there. No, we were out there before. No, we were out there after. No, before he passed, I think. But
Nipsey Hussle, it was like right
yeah,
after
Nipsey
Nipsey.
Hussle, he had died around that time or
Right,
whatever
right.
or whatnot. But when Kobe died, man, like we seen a lot of murals, even with Nipsey, man. How did that affect the art scene and you personally? Because we seen a lot of visual artists painting murals,
Yeah.
things around the city and things of that nature.
Put it this way. Put it this way. I was on my way home from work when I heard it on the radio. I went straight to the paint store, and I bought purple and gold and shit, purple and yellow paint, and I couldn't come to cut a stencil because it was gonna, it was gonna take me a while. You know what I'm saying? So I bought the already pre-cut stencils and just Kobe and the numbers, and I went out there and just did just plain yellow background with the purple letters. That same day, the next day, there's another friend of mine, another artist. He paints a lot of electrical boxes too, and he was doing a lot of them around the arena
Mhm.
in downtown. So I caught up with him that day too, and it was, I mean, people were standing around just watching him paint. You know what I mean? But yeah, it was crazy, and I mean, still, people are still putting them up because
Mm.
the ones that get damaged, people are still, fixing them and having them run for a while, you know what I mean, for as long as they can, I guess. A lot of them, a lot of people are maintaining them and just fixing them up as soon as they get vandalized or they get messed with.
Okay.
Any upcoming projects or anything like that, or any art shows that you are entering, or whatever that you want to tell the people about?
Yeah, the one at the ZA Gallery, that one's on March the 27th, and we're doing that one. That's the one coming up, and the one previous to that one is on March 21st, that's the one at the Beverly Center, and it's a immersive neon room. So a lot of the pieces there are reflective or neon light or black light and
Right.
stuff. So yeah, there's gonna be a lot of Pokemon stuff in there too.
Okay.
Yeah, that gallery, it's a big gallery, but the curator that's representing me, she got a section of that gallery where she's inviting, believe it's like 15 to 20 artists to take part in that on that project, and it's gonna be running for 3 months. So that should be pretty good.
Nice, nice. Well, look, tell the people, man, where they can follow you and where they can be able to find your artwork. I don't know if you have a website or something where people can
No,
purchase
I
your
just
artwork.
have just Instagram. I have my own, which is Dan underscore one ONE underscore LA, and then my art page is Raised in LA Art, and that's where I put most of just art related stuff. My personal one, I put all kind of other stuff that my dogs and all that, my bird. But yeah, the Raised in LA one is the one where you'll see. I put most of the upcoming events that I'm gonna be taking part on, and things like that.
Oh, that's what's up.
Okay, cool, man.
And like before you go, anybody you want to shout out, any upcoming artists, anybody, and then like what would you want to say to any artists that are like trying to do what you do or be creative, paint, make sculptures, etc. What would you say? Anybody you want to shout out?
To all the artists out there, I just want to say, just be consistent. Just be consistent, stay productive. You never know what people are gonna see. You know what I'm saying? So just stay out there. I just want to give a shout out to the Honey Drop Gallery for giving me an opportunity to show my art, and thank you guys for giving me the opportunity and the platform to express myself.
No problem, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
So, quick backstory. So, when we interviewed, I think it was Salvi Mami. I think you like wanted to post or whatnot, and I happened to click on your profile, and that's when I saw your artwork. I was
Right.
like, oh, man, okay. I was like, yo, got to get this guy on the show. Got to reach out to him. So I
Right.
appreciate you. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Responding back and everything.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like I like to have the opportunity to showcase and to show my art. I appreciate you guys.
Oh, man.
Word, word, word. No
Oh,
problem, man.
Yeah.
So, one last question. I meant to ask this early. What's the largest, I guess, the largest canvas size or the largest mural you ever done?
man, I get just with the stencil work and all that. Probably like what was it? Probably like 16 feet long by like 8 feet tall. So yeah. It's that one. It's in Echo Park in a parking structure. But
Oh,
but
nice.
yeah.
Right.
I've taken part in other larger pieces. like big parking lots, but I would do just like a section, um a lot of it, a lot of them, what I kept doing for a bit was the shoes hanging from a power pole, and then the LAPD helicopter flying overhead, and then people would go around that and do their production.
Dope,
Nice,
that's dope.
nice, nice, nice. Bert, well, we appreciate your time, man. Thank you for joining us. This has been another Music Life Social podcast. Check us out, on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all
Spotify,
of these, YouTube, Spotify. You can look
like
us
and
up.
subscribe.
Yeah, Music Life Social.
Perfect.
And have to check out the merch shop, you know what
Right.
I'm saying? Socialshop.com or whatever. Get your fresh merch. We appreciate y'all. You know what I'm saying? That's a wrap.
Yeah.